part of Highway 1 is shut down after the scenic roadway collapsed. It happened Saturday near Big Sur. Now, that was when the rain was at the heaviest, and you can see exactly what happened here. It's just a mess. Tons of debris and chunks of asphalt came tumbling down the road.
It began like any other morning along California's legendary coastline. The sky was calm, traffic moved steadily, and the Pacific shimmered beside cliffs that had stood for generations. Then, without ceremony or warning, the land failed. Developing rapidly across the Bay Area and beyond, parts of Highway 1 were suddenly shut down after entire sections of the scenic roadway collapsed. The failure occurred during the peak of intense winter rain, when saturated ground could no longer hold. Asphalt cracked, concrete sheared away, and tons of debris cascaded down the cliffs, disappearing into the ocean below. What remained was a jagged void where a trusted highway once ran. Drone footage revealed a haunting sight. A road snapped mid-curve, guardrails twisted like wire, and slabs of pavement frozen at impossible angles above empty air. Within hours, evacuations were ordered, detours stretched for miles, and communities were cut off. This was not just an infrastructure failure, it was a warning. Scientists across California now say these collapses signal something far more serious unfolding along the coast, a convergence of forces reshaping the land faster than anyone expected. What happened on Highway 1 may not be the exception. It may be the beginning. Chapter 1. The collapse no one saw coming. The collapse did not arrive with dramatic earthquakes or obvious precursors. To most drivers, the highway appeared intact. Crews had patched cracks, cleared small rock falls, and reinforced known weak spots. On the surface, everything looked manageable. But beneath the pavement, the situation was deteriorating rapidly. Weeks of relentless rain saturated fragile coastal soils. Water infiltrated deep into the cliffs, building underground pressure. At the same time, powerful waves battered the shoreline below, quietly eroding the cliff base. Then the balance tipped. One section shifted, another followed. Asphalt fractured into long, jagged fissures. Entire lanes folded and slid toward the Pacific in massive slabs. Within minutes, a vital transportation artery was gone. Emergency crews arrived to a scene that defied comprehension. Repairs planned over months, costing millions, had been undone in seconds. The roar of the collapse echoed along the cliffs, drowning out emergency radio traffic. For residents watching from nearby homes, it felt unreal. A road they used daily had vanished overnight. Chapter 2. Stranded communities and vanishing lifelines. For coastal communities, highways like Route 1 and Highway 101 are more than scenic drives. They are lifelines. When they fail, the consequences ripple outward instantly. After the collapse, towns found themselves isolated. Emergency vehicles faced long detours. Supply trucks were delayed or rerouted entirely. Some residents were stranded on the wrong side of the gap, unable to reach work, school, or medical care. Authorities issued emergency alerts while scrambling to stabilize what remained of the cliffs. But in many areas, crews could do little more than assess the damage and close the road indefinitely. The land was still moving. Any repair attempt risked triggering further slides. The fear extended beyond inconvenience. Residents understood what the collapse represented: vulnerability. If the ground beneath a major highway could disappear so suddenly, what about the neighborhoods perched just above it? What about the next storm? Scientists warn this sense of uncertainty is now part of life along California's coast. Chapter 3. A convergence of hidden forces. Experts emphasize that no single cause explains the failure. Instead, the collapse was the result of multiple hazards aligning at once. First came extreme rainfall. Repeated winter storms saturated soils that were already fragile, transforming stable slopes into slow-moving masses. Groundwater pressure built silently, weakening the internal structure of the cliffs. Next came marine erosion. Storm surge and high tides allowed waves to strike farther inland, eating away at the cliff base that supports coastal roads. Each wave removed a little more support, unseen from above. Add subtle tectonic movement and the constant pull of gravity, and the system reached a critical threshold. Remove any one factor, scientists say, and the highway might have survived. Combined, failure became inevitable. This convergence is what alarms researchers most. These conditions are no longer rare. They are becoming the norm. Chapter 4. The coast that is slowly sinking. Perhaps the most unsettling discovery lies beneath the surface. California's coastline is not just eroding, it is sinking. Satellite data and subsurface sensors reveal slow but persistent land subsidence along large stretches of the coast. In some areas, the land drops several millimeters per year. After major storms, that rate accelerates. To the human eye, the movement is invisible. But over time, it fundamentally weakens roads, homes, and infrastructure. Cliffs that appear solid are, in reality, always in motion. When subsidence combines with extreme weather, highways become tipping points. Roads built decades ago on assumptions of stability now sit on foundations that no longer exist as expected. Planning maps struggle to keep up. Areas once considered safe drift closer to danger with every season. Chapter 5. When engineering meets its limits. For generations, California responded to coastal threats with engineering. Stronger seawalls, deeper foundations, smarter designs. But repeated collapses are forcing a reckoning. In some locations, engineers no longer promise permanence. Instead, discussions now include managed retreat, relocating roads rather than endlessly repairing them. Emergency fixes buy time, but less with each storm. Entire stretches of Highway 1 have already been bypassed for good, left behind as modern ruins slowly reclaimed by nature. The financial cost is staggering. Millions spent on repairs can vanish in a single night. Yet the greater cost may be the loss of confidence that infrastructure can keep pace with a rapidly changing coast. Chapter 6. A new normal for coastal California. The collapse of Highway 1 is not an isolated disaster. It is part of a larger shift redefining California's relationship with its coastline. Scientists describe the current era as one of compound hazards, events that stack and amplify one another. Extreme rainfall, marine erosion, subsiding land, and warming oceans now interact in ways older models never anticipated. Communities must adapt. Emergency planning now accounts for vanishing routes. Insurance markets adjust. Tourism patterns change. What was once postcard scenery is increasingly treated as a risk zone. The question is no longer whether change is coming, but how quickly society can respond. As night falls on another fractured stretch of California's coast, the images linger. Roads ending abruptly in mid-air, cliffs reshaped overnight, communities navigating a future with fewer guarantees. The lesson is stark. True risk lies not only in what breaks, but in how unpredictably the land itself is changing. Highways once thought permanent now exist on borrowed time. California's coast remains breathtaking, but it is also restless. And as the Pacific continues its relentless advance, one truth becomes unavoidable. The ground beneath our feet is no longer guaranteed. This is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a new chapter, written at the shifting edge between land and sea.